Hi guys, Acesup here. I am about 2/3 into this session, I would say, and I won't lie, it has been tough going. Came in obviously full of confidence after shipping the 100 rebuy yesterday, and got slapped around. Not so much by the players, but by the deck. I haven't been winning too many all-ins, but suddenly I just noticed that it's 9:25 a.m. here now, and the fish have come out to play. I'm just seeing some bizarre plays on multiple tables, and it's just really reminded me of how soft it is during the day, because I've been on the night, well, what's my night schedule, which is probably evenings, or afternoons and evenings for most people around the world, depending on your time zone. And I've just rediscovered a lot of fish, and just seen some crazy stuff, and it's allowed me to build a little bit of a stack in a couple of these tourneys here. There's a couple of tourneys that I probably perhaps wouldn't always add into the schedule, but definitely today, from what I'm seeing, there's some good opportunities to ship something, or at least get some good scores. Lower variance, less players, not as big a prize pools in the afternoon. Well, my afternoon, but still definitely good for ROI and great value. This is one of the ones with the 55 one rebuy, one add-on. Don't always play this. I used to play it religiously, and then it sort of seemed just very reg field. You got to be realistic about your intentions of making money. If you're trying to multi-table a lot of tables and trying to avoid variance, you don't really want to be playing sort of $150 or the equivalent. There's 155 buy-in once you take the rebuy and add-on. If there's it's like 30 players in there and 95% of them are like decent regs, you got to wonder where your edge is going to come from against that sort of field. I am going to call top middle just because it's a super knockout, so I'm going to call a little bit loose here and try and flop big. We don't flop big, we flop dangerously, don't we here? Flop the ace. It's kind of the flop that we didn't really want, because I might find myself stacking off here, but I'm not sure. Let's see what he does on the turn. If Poker Mona had well, there is the turn that we were looking for, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and get it in now. Just trying to think the best way of doing this. If it's to probably just shipping over the top. I mean, there's already 3,000 in there, and it just seemed like it was time. Calling. I mean, we've got the other player behind, and he actually has us covered, so I don't want to get too fancy. Try and trap. Not really too much point. Pot's already quite big. The initial player is obviously already committed. And you never know, the player behind might just decide he wants to come along as well. Bottom right, I think I'm just going to say... Whoa. Have to go in the tank here, guys. This is a pretty tough hand. Don't think I can quite find a fold here. Kind of want to, but I just don't think I can. But I mean, he looks very nutty, and I'm going to hate myself once he snaps me with a monster here. He's 3-betting against an M. Yeah, I just don't think I can quite fold here, guys. I'm going to hate myself when he shows me kings. I'm really going to hate... Wow. I didn't expect that. That's bad news. That's kind of bad news. Well, he hasn't snapped, so that's good. It's not how I thought that hand was going to go. Ran into queens there. It was just kind of a very tough spot because, wow, I don't think we can fold here. Well, can we fold there? I mean, this is really gross. We got some random fish just smashing pot. I think I'm just going to call, close my eyes and hope he hasn't got aces. It's so sick. How do we hit the 6 on the river? It's just disgusting. 6 is the only card, not even a 7. Like 7 is still an easy fold, but I mean the bet itself is is pretty fishy, but he just happens to have a guy who's river trips. And against these clowns, I just don't think I can quite. I just don't think I can quite fold there against these guys. Yeah, the bottom right. I mean that was pretty close. I mean, obviously ace queen is strong, but the reason why I was hesitant is we've got a pretty short stack player that's opened, only M7, and we've got a mini 3-bet, which is kind of begging for action, isn't it? And he's kind of short himself, the guy that 3-bet. So it's a really close situation, and I could take it or leave it, but at the end of the day, we're actually pretty short ourselves. We need to get some chips. It's not impossible that Siwas is attacking light, because the guy that opened actually is very loose. Extremely loose. So I mean we're really unlucky that he woke up with queens, because he's a really loose player, and that's what really in the end for me sort of just prompted me to go with it. It's just the fact that he is very loose. If he had been tight, then it would have been a super easy fold, but because the initial opener is very loose, and you know, this Siwas guy is pretty good but capable of being a bit creative and a few different things. I wasn't exactly sure what he was doing. If he was isolating, you know, just trying to isolate a bit light. If he actually had a 3-bet fold range against that player because he opens so wide, maybe he wanted to take the initiative against him, and so forth. And you know, we had ace queen, which was obviously, you know, a strong hand, and it was just a few unknowns. So I decided, given the situation for us in the tournament is that we're kind of getting short. We need to get chips. I decided to roll with it. And as it was, we ran into the queens, which is obviously, you know, I mean, it's still not, it's bad, obviously, but I mean, once that dead money's been piled out there, it's actually not that horrific. I mean, obviously it's negative EV if we know he's got queens, but it's still, you know, still not even that bad. I mean, just because of all the dead money, but it's just unfortunate the way it worked out. Top left is a 10k guaranteed $50 buy-in on BWin. I chucked that in today. I played an F-tops and ran. I had kings against ace king all in. Well, the blinds are like 40-80 and got it in for like 8,000 against ace king against some fish, and he spiked the ace, rivered the ace. That was the end of that chapter. And I also did jump in in a couple of tourneys on BWin, and this one we're actually not doing too bad in. As you can tell, you know, it's a pretty long session for me. It's an epic session. I did wake up a bit later today. Didn't wake up till 1:30 a.m. Had a couple of things to do, and then jumped on and reached just in time for the $100 rebuy. And yeah, just kind of was under the pump from the get-go. So just coming in a bit late today with the commentary. Now the tables are a bit more under control, and I do feel that we're going to see some pretty good action with the sort of the lineup that we've got here anyway, because we've got sort of, you know, no turbos, all sort of deep stack tourneys, and yeah, it's a mixed bag of players to play against. See if we can make some good decisions. Pretty close, bottom right. I mean, I'm going to call, and that's one of the cards I was hoping to hit. I think I'm actually going to turn my hand into a semi-bluff with it now. This guy seems like he's been waiting. He's very, very short. It's a really close spot. I'm just going to try and take the initiative here, and I think just min it. And that's going to give us, I think, a few more options on the river. How many are left here? 48. Yeah, I think I will. Well, yeah, I think I will call just because he's so short. Not obviously not good. Wow. The other guy's called behind. It's kind of ruined our SPR now. I don't think we can get folds from 2 players. If the guy behind had a folded, the pot would have been 1600, and I probably would have shoved. You know, we had a lot of outs. Ace and 9, Jack or a Queen probably all give us the best hand. A little bit of fold equity to go with it. But I think just giving up now is probably okay. Wow, they both had... we actually had the best hand. We actually had the best hand. It looked like they were being fishy. The guy sort of donking out. So, you know, just donking out in general is... I mean, I don't mind it in that spot with his hand, but... I can't believe we had the best hand there. I guess the 10 here, top right, we're going to have to fold. This is probably the worst card. Well, it is the worst card, no doubt about it. I think I will go for the squeeze here. Yeah, it was pretty close top left because he's been a little bit on the tighter side. I mean, if it was a normal reg, it's a pretty easy call. I think M3.5-ish he was, just under M4 jamming. I think it's the fact that we close out the action because, you know, we were the big blind, so we close the action and already have, like, you know, chips invested. Again, we just get a really bad turn card here. I think any any Queen Jack diamond, I probably am going to shove on. I think he's got 7s or 8s a lot of the time. I just don't think he's going to fold now, to be honest. 9s, that sort of thing, probably. I mean, he could add King Jack and just be controlling, but it's the money card right there. 6, 12, 18. I guess I'm just going to call it. Could be a little bluff. Wow, crazy action bottom left. That's good. I think we just shove. He might hero us. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he could have a King Jack, like I said, and hero. Not impossible, I guess. The thing is we bet like half pot. I mean, yeah, I don't think his calling range is too elastic there, because the SPR was already pretty low. Let me just confirm that. I just got completely distracted by another table and just completely missed it again. Yeah, saying he had... It's really hard to see. Because the boom replayer gets a bit buggy, as you can see. But it looks like there's 7 in there and he's got 4.6 and there's 7.2 in there. So, you know, we could bet 2, I guess, and try and get our king to call. Yeah, much of a muchness, you know. I mean, he's got his little his mobile showing. You know, he's obviously just a recreational guy, come out to play on the weekend. He might be in the mood to hero us if we jam there, and I think we're using the ace as a scare card to bluff on. Certainly, yeah, not impossible. But if we bet, I mean, we could bet 500 or 1,000.
And that's going to get called. I mean, sure, that's going to get called more, obviously, but I don't think it gets paid proportionally more to necessarily mean that it's a better bet. I mean, the full all-in is going to get paid less. And what I mean by that is, let's say the all-in gets called 25% of the time. The 4,000 all-in gets called 25% of the time. Then it yields, 1,000 profit in the long term. It's a pretty good flop. But if, on the other hand, let's say a 1,500 bet gets called 66% of the time, then that still is going to yield, the same, the 1,000, So I think it's kind of proportional, to be honest. I'm just going to go ahead and keep valuing here. Hopefully he's got Jack Queen or something like that, and he's going to have troubles folding, but it looks like he's probably got 5s, 7s, and he found an escape path. Probably not going to... No, not going to fold there. Wow. He just waits. He waits to get the worst flop ever and then jam. You gotta love these guys. He waits to get the worst flop ever and then jams. This is the Christmas period coming up and the weekend combining. And if you haven't seen it yet, there's actually a YouTube video called Phil Ivey and the Christmas Donks. The channel is Poker Nerve. Make sure you check it out, guys. It's actually a bit of a classic, and it's really summing up, I think, what you can expect to see and what we are seeing. That's probably just about the price that I feel compelled to call there. When he's got the 5-9 off, just love it. Just love this afternoon, the way it's going. This is such a tough spot with the ace-queen. I think I might actually just flat. Good chance this guy comes along as well with a hand we crush, and we may just flop absolutely nothing. You do have to be a little bit careful pulling the trigger in afternoons, and especially with squeezes and stuff, because players often just won't be folding, and that's definitely going to affect a bluff's success rate when a guy just never folds. It could be a futile attempt at a bluff. Having said that, I did pull this one off earlier. It's a fun one. Let's go through it. It's probably the hand of the day, I guess, if I had to pick one. Early position open. Fishy player calls on the button. I decided to come along with the 7-9. We flop the gutser and turn a double belly. So I go ahead and lead there. And be right with you guys with the highlight. We actually get called in two places, so I kind of think about giving up on the river until this guy behind bets 18, and he's just been a bit fishy and this sort of guy that overplays a lot. And overplaying guys here probably bet a 6, probably bet a 10, probably bet 4-5, probably bet 7-8, probably bet hearts. So it just looks like he's got a hand like King 9 of clubs or something like that. Maybe Ace 4. I picked up an up and down on the turn. King 4 even, he's pretty loose. Something like that, and now just taking a desperation stab. So the SPR has been created. It's really nice SPR, and it only has to work this raise here. What's that, 64? Yeah, I mean 45% of the time. I think it works a lot more than that. He snap folded the guy. The guy actually, the initial raiser actually tanked for a while. I think he was trying to put it all together, but in the end he just can't come up with a call. But it did make me wonder what he might have that might tank on that river. Because, I mean, how does he check flop and then call turn? I mean, is he controlling with 7s, 8s, or 9s? Or a 6, 6, 7? But it's really hard for him to call with any of those hands. I don't think he can once we check jam river on that particular card. Unless he's really, really clever and zoned in and realizes what's happened. That's pretty rare. It would be a remarkable call if he called there with like pocket 9s or something. It would be crazy. I think I will just bet small here. I kind of want to bet again against this guy. I mean, it's probably just being a fish, but I think I'm just going to check and control. You could have 3 or 7. He's bet big. The big bet's probably 1 Wow, we've got another big hand in this tournament. That's pretty cool. The big bet. What does the big bet mean to us? I think this is actually a flush draw, just like a king jack, jack 7, something like that. I think. This is ugly, but I'm just going to go with it now. You could have a 7-8 or a spades or 8-9 or 2-4. Ooh. It's beeping at me there. Yeah, this is kind of close. I mean, there's not much I think he can have that missed unless he just called because we bet small on the flop with like ace 10. Or like a 4-5, 5-6 gutser. There is some hands we beat, but I think I'm just going to fold it. So this one goes in, which is interesting. Well, I mean, I presume, unless this is some sort of crazy little mini bluff. Hopefully he hasn't got 7s. Looks like he's got himself a fold button. It's a cheeky little bluff he might have made on the flop. Or maybe he's just got himself in a wee bit of trouble with pocket 8s. Got himself in a little bit of wee trouble here. And I think he's going to call off. Because he just can't control himself with his pocket 8s. He raised for information on the flop, but then he got information. And then I thought normally when they raise for information, get information, they ignore the information and still call. But he did fold. King Jack bottom right, that is going to be an interesting one. You know, so 2-4. I mean, last hand again. You know, you guys are just seeing this. I know I'm getting repetitive, but with this, but you know, this is crazy. 2-4 suited defends against a short stack from small blind. Like, basically playing as bad as possible, and then just calls with a flush draw. Doesn't decide to, you know, doesn't decide to semi bluff against a short stack. No implied odds. Excellent stack to semi bluff jam with it though. And just decides he's going to check call with the 4 high. It's like guys are just playing as bad as possible. You know, it's like you say to someone, okay, go out and play as bad as you possibly can. And that's how, you know, a lot of these guys in these tournaments are playing. It's just incredible. Afternoons. It's the power of the afternoons. I think it's around almost close to the bubble here, is it? Yeah, so I want to pick up the pressure a bit. There's 41 players left. 36 get paid, and we are 9 of 41. So we're doing okay. We're in a decent spot. I might even raise this one, I think. Yeah, well, I probably would have gone open that one as well, just because we're so close to the bubble. But it's pretty close because we're still 5 spots off. You know, so it's not like we're right there. Yeah, but probably would have. Just because we've got tiny stacks behind. And if they jam, we can just fold 4-9. Few too many players behind now, I think, probably with the king 3. It's pretty close again. But if we do open and the big blind jams, it puts us in a pretty, you know, disgusting spot where I probably have to call with the king 3. Just because the pot odds will be so huge. The other tourney I played on B-Win was a 109 and cashed in that. And I haven't actually had any DC issues at all. I played a couple of Titan tournaments as well. And just no disconnection issues. So it was really surprising. Because I've had a lot of disconnection issues lately. Triple 8 poker, I did play the Monsoon and the Tornado, but just busted early stages. Yeah, I just haven't been... using any of the run good that I had yesterday, trying to re-find, could have rekindled that fire, that run good fire that we had for a brief moment yesterday in the 100 rebuy where we had a couple of, you know, pairs over pairs and they held, and then we had, you know, a couple of ace kings, a couple of flips and they won, you know, and that's all it really takes, you know, is win a couple of flips and A couple of not even coolers, you know. I mean, we'd been pretty aggressive. There was a hand where a guy, you know, we 3-bet with I think queens, and the guy, you know, 4-bet stuffed with I think 8s or 7s it was, and you know we had queens, and it was a good spot. Just stuff like that, you know. If that happens and you win a couple of flips, yeah, you can win a tournament. But it's hard, you know. It's hard for those situations to go your way where you're the one with the bigger pair and you win your flips. It's a beautiful thing when it happens. And yesterday it was a beautiful thing. I think I'm just going to raise here and just put some pressure on this guy. There's a lot of overcards that we can represent. We do have some backdoor hearts. It's not a great card, but I think I'm going to just continue to tell the story here and probably shove river if we get any. Probably, it's actually probably one of the worst cards. It's probably the worst card that could have come. And now we just have to decide if we want to go and shovel it in. Or if we want to just... It just seems like he might not be folding now is a problem. Any sort of... Even a 9, I think. Any 9... Yeah, any 9, jack, ace, king or queen for value, I would probably just shove. I don't think we can quite fold, just in case he's got, you know, like... jack, queen of hearts, or, you know... Queen 9 of hearts or something silly. I mean, it's only 60, so we only have to be right like 1 in like 1 in like 30. I don't know. I don't even know. So I don't know if he might actually hero with that if we shove river. You know, I think it's pretty close. But we certainly told the story, and that's what I was saying before about they just don't fold. So you got to be careful because they just don't plan on folding. It's a little bit of a loose call here, but I just think if we hit a set, the SPR's already 2.3-ish. We're always just going to stack Jen Bizzle, I think. And Jen Bizzle's a player that I just want to get out because Jen Bizzle's pretty good. So I sort of took a bit of a shot. And I'm just going to fold, I think, on that board rather than just check call out of position. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close because the implied odds are getting very, very borderline, to put it mildly. But I just think that Jim Bizzle's likely got a hand there, and sometimes I just take a shot to try and bust a good player like that, you know, because we've got a field of probably just donkeys around us here, and then just Jen Bizzle, who's, you know, very good. So I just want the good player out of the way, and so I can have all the donkeys to myself. You know, it's quite greedy, but I think it's fine. But it didn't work out, and you know we still could have had the best hand. Jen Bizzle could have had Ace King, and it was definitely tempting to call. You know, call and see what Jen Bizzle does on the turn. We did have the backdoor straight as well, which made it even more tempting. If it came a 3 or a 6, 3 would have given us up and down. I think it was a 6 gut shot, and very hard for Jen to fire again if we call. Because we kind of look like we're not folding, but at the same time, I didn't really want to, you know, we had sort of borderline speculative odds pre. I didn't want to compound that sort of grey area. I didn't want to compound the possible bad call pre by then putting more money into the pot post, and in doing that, the implied odds that we were getting pre-flop are kind of, I mean, they're actually worse than they look, because we're actually spewing even when we miss, you know. Sort of like there shouldn't really be negative implied odds with that hand. But, you know, wow. You know, top right, I think it was okay just to check. We had diamonds and overs, and then just get a little bit of value on the river. And at top middle, I did go for the big squeeze again. You know, I mean, these guys probably, it could be a mistake because they're probably just not folding. They're limping and just never folding. You shove all in, they call. Well, maybe not shove, but you know. This is another pretty close one because his bet's so small. I mean, we do have the backdoor nut flush. I think I will call now. It's 3-way. An ace could be good. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's ugly. It's ugly poker at the moment. But it certainly is an epic session. We could actually be good sometimes here, but I think we're going to lose to a hand like 7-10 suited, or someone could have 8-9 as well, something like that. I don't think there's any need to bet it. I think that betting it is probably not that smart. He could even be bad enough that he's got like Jack Queen, Jack Queen or something like that, and he's actually check turn because he's like, oh, I have trips, I'm going to play tricky kind of thing. So it wouldn't really be impossible to imagine him rolling like Jack Queen or Jack 8 or something, or a full house or something. Sevens, Queen. I'm just trying to think what he can have here. Just pretty close to calling there. Yeah, pretty close. I wanted to see what he had. Sounds fishy, I know, but maybe he's got 5s and he just bets flop. Once I check, just like, well, I have to bet now. It's hard. It's hard to put yourself in the mind of of these guys and what they're thinking. It always reminds me of The Simpsons. There's that episode where they zoom inside Homer's head and into his brain, and he's just picturing some cabaret girls doing the can, and they've got the fishnet stockings on, and it's going do 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 do.